President Donald Trump threw British foreign policy into a tailspin on January 20th. He criticized London's plans to hand a British colony back to the African nation of Mauritius. Trump put up this post on social media, calling the Chagos Island deal an act of total weakness and stupidity. This is despite Trump having given his blessings to the same deal last year. So what caused him to change his mind? Well, a report in the British media outlet The Telegraph says that Trump fears the Chagos deal will leave a US base there vulnerable to Chinese spying. Before getting into the credibility of the threat, let's take a closer look at the Chagos Islands. The islands are in the Indian Ocean. They are currently part of a British colony called the British Indian Ocean Territory. The UK created this colony in 1965, carving out from Mauritius just 3 years before the country won its independence. The reason for this partition was because Britain wanted to keep hold of one of the Chagos Islands, in particular Diego Garcia. The UK had plans for this island paradise. The UK and the US began building a military base on Diego Garcia in the 1970s. It's called the Naval Support Facility, or NSF Diego Garcia. The base was built after stealing land from expelling people from the island. These people are the Chagos Islanders, or Chagosians. A few years ago, Mauritius took the UK to the International Court of Justice. It wanted the Chagos Islands returned. And the ICJ agreed that it was against international law for Britain to hold on to its colony. Rather than risk further legal challenges from Mauritius, the UK decided to make a deal where it could keep control of its military base. The Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, formally signed a deal to return the island in May last year. The deal says that the UK will hand sovereignty of the Chagos Islands over to Mauritius. However, it will continue to control Diego Garcia and the military base on a 99-year lease. That lease can also be extended by another 40 years. And this deal would not have been possible without a go-ahead from Trump. The US president effectively had a veto over the deal, but Trump gave his go-ahead. But reports indicate that British politicians opposed to the deal have been petitioning the Trump administration over the last year. They have been urging the American president to use his veto so that Britain is forced to violate international law and keep control of its colony. One of the ways the British opposition has been trying to convince Trump is by highlighting the potential threat of China spying on NSF Diego Garcia. They say that Mauritius shares cordial relations with China, and that could increase the risk of Chinese spying in the islands. The Chagos Islands are about 2,000 kilometers away from Mauritius, but under the deal, Mauritius will gain control of all the islands except Diego Garcia, where the base is. Politicians opposed to the deal say that after gaining control, Mauritius might allow Chinese vessels to venture close to the islands, and that could allow Chinese spy ships to gather information on the Diego Garcia base. They also say that even if Mauritius does not give China explicit permission to send ships, it does not have the capacity to intercept Chinese vessels either. Mauritius reportedly only has 2 ships capable of reaching the Chagos Islands to police it. British opposition politicians have been making these arguments to convince Trump to pull the plug on the Chagos deal. They say the deal endangers both British and American security, and therefore London must keep hold of its colony in the Indian Ocean.